Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, I will explain the 5 most in-demand and useful programming languages to learn in 2020. So let's get started with number 5. My 5th choice was Go. Also known as Golang, this programming language was built by Google to get rid of slow build time and process time. Google built this language as an alternative to C++ and Java. Go can compile code even before Java starts. Many startups in Silicon Valley use Go as their main programming language, and Go has a series of built-in functions which can keep you from writing long algorithms. Now, the negatives of Go are the following. Go doesn't have a graphics library, so if you want to make games with Golang, it will be quite difficult. Moreover, Go lacks versatility, meaning it can be used to perform different things such as robots, games, websites, etc. Now let's take a look at the statistics. I would say that this language isn't so difficult to learn. However, unlike Python, you should be a little familiar with programming, as object-oriented programming in Go gets quite tricky. However, unlike C++, Golang has clean syntax which makes it easy to understand and learn. Since Go is most used by Google and other big companies don't use Go as their main language, it is quite hard to get a job which requires Go. Moving on to number 4. C or C++. These languages are like the creators of all modern languages. Almost all low-level systems, such as operating systems, file systems, etc., are written in C or C++. If you wish to be a system-level programmer, C or C++ are the languages that you should learn. C++ especially has a high build speed. C++ also has a standard template library, which includes functions and various data structures. I think C++ would be a great way to start learning programming, as it teaches you what programming really is and how hard it can get. The object-oriented programming syntax in C++ gets really tricky, and when and if you learn this, make sure you pay really close attention. C and C++ can be used to make robots, games, operating systems, and pretty much everything. However, there are cons. C doesn't support namespace, meaning you can't write your own version of code with your own style. No extra spaces, no extra indents, etc. Additionally, these languages are so close to low level that it's really hard to learn these as your first. So going to statistics, in my opinion and experience with learning C++, I would give it a definite 5 for difficulty level. C++ is quite in demand these days, but there are companies that use different languages that are easier to use. For example, Apple used a programming language called Objective-C++, which is similar to C. But because the developers complained of the difficulty, the whole Apple company created a new language called Swift. So, it's up to you to decide. Now let's take a look at the 3rd language on the list, JavaScript. This is a language that I use most frequently. JavaScript is a front-end programming language widely used to design interactive applications in the web. For instance, when you click on a button on a web page, the task is controlled by JavaScript. JavaScript has many functionalities, from creating servers to making games. JavaScript includes an uncountable amount of libraries that can help you with your coding. For example, Node.js, the most popular one for using and building servers, p5.js for making 2D and 3D animations, and jQuery to help interact with HTML elements. These are just some of the hundreds of libraries there are. And since JavaScript is the language of the web, it has endless functions and syntax. Every website is powered mainly with JavaScript. Without JavaScript, there wouldn't be websites as you see them these days. JavaScript even has its own data file format called JSON, JavaScript Object Notation. JSON is a really famous and easy way to store data. JavaScript can be run on any web browser, and therefore you don't need to download any software that runs JavaScript. So, going to the statistics, I would say JavaScript is a much harder language to learn than Go. Although I consider it an easy language, some concepts in JavaScript are quite complex, such as events, functional loops, and classes. JavaScript is one of the most in-demand languages these days, as almost any tech company uses JavaScript for their websites, such as Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and much more. So I would put JavaScript at a 4 for job opportunities. Now to number 2, Java. Not JavaScript, but Java. Java is a popular programming language that many large organizations use. It has remained in demand for many years. Java is widely used in Android app development, and almost any business needs mobile apps to run their company. These days, there are billions of Android users in the world, so just imagine how much this language is in demand. Google even created an excellent Java-based Android development framework called Android Studio, a software that you can use to develop your own Android apps. Java has an abundance of open source libraries, just like JavaScript. Java includes many built-in functions and even has object-oriented programming. Java works really well when working with data. It offers many APIs performing different tasks such as database connections, networking, utilities, and even XML parsing. There aren't too many cons with learning Java. Java has much slower build and compiling time than languages like C and C++. Java is almost like C++, but a lot different in terms of low-level features. Java is a rather hard language to learn. It has many features, which means it includes a lot of syntax and notation. Java is the second on this list and pretty much on anyone's list. Java is a really popular language, so I'm going to give it a 4.5 in terms of job opportunities. Number 1. You probably guessed it, Python. Python is undoubtedly at the top of this list. It is widely accepted as the best programming language to learn first. Python is fast and really easy to use. Python includes simple syntax and notation that even a 5-year-old can understand it. Here, you can see how different languages in this list outputs hello world. I'm sure anyone would say Python is the most understandable. Python provides excellent library support and has a global large developers community. This language can also be used to program anything: robots, games, software, websites, etc. The Raspberry Pi is a small credit card-sized computer that you can use to build your own robots and program it in Python. I've made several robots using the Raspberry Pi, and trust me guys, it's simple with Python. Python is used as a main programming language for many startup companies as well as large tech companies. Python supports object-oriented programming, and in my opinion, is probably the simplest. Python is really good when it comes to web scraping, data management, and artificial intelligence. The difficulty level for Python is 1. It's really easy to use, and it's the best language to learn as your first. Python is the language that is in the most demand these days, and will be for a long time.